Hey guys, how you doing today? Well, first, bad news. I'm going to have to bury Tally today. She's non-responsive, basically. She's laying there on the floor in a puddle with her eyes closed. So she weighs. I picked her up and she literally weighs nothing. She should be a very chunky girl like her sisters, but she isn't. But Bash is going to be left alone once again, unfortunately. As he goes at the same time. I have had quite an adventure in writing. Let me tell you, it's been interesting. My son is basically a 3 times author, and he's writing another. And we were talking about, I'm using a tool, a writer's tool called Pro Writing Aid, which is it's like Grammarly kind of, but it doesn't write it for you obviously, but it gives you suggestions. And I'm going to my son, I was fighting the program because it kept wanting me to put commas where I have taught commas don't belong. And like I said, they just keep wanting to put a comma if you say, we went to the store and we went home. The way my grammar of the 1960s was, you don't put a comma there. This one kept wanting me to put, we went to the store, comma, and we went home. Not and then, but it's and. And I'm like, that doesn't belong to, a comma doesn't belong there. It's just 2 things. You don't need a comma for 2 things. And I kept thinking, why do they want so many commas? And my son, first his suggestion was, he goes, well, check the version of English that you have it set on. And I didn't even occur to me. It's got British English and American English and Oxford English, or what, I know it's got several settings, like, oh, okay. I said, well, thanks, I didn't even realize there was such a setting, so I'll put it on United States English. And he said, walked out for the Oxford commas. I'm like, well, I never even heard of Oxford comma. Apparently that's all the extra commas they keep wanting to put in there. And I changed the setting, but it didn't really help. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm fighting with you because that's not the way I was taught. And when I was in 4th grade, I was reading at today's college level when I was in 4th grade. I had won the spelling bee for my school. My best subject was English. And so I always felt I was pretty good at writing. Boy, this writing aid has kind of told me I'm not, I have a few little issues, but I'm trying to correct those and stop making them be such an issue from now on. But I was complaining to my son about that, and I said, I can't remember exactly what we were saying, because he's a teacher. He teaches English as a second language. And I said, boy, you must have a challenge or something like, he said, you should hear my William Shatner Captain Kirk voice when I read sentences back to students who put in way, way, way too many commas. He said, but in general, they don't use any punctuation. So, at all. So it's like speeding off a cliff of confusion is the way he put it. And I said, the worst is when somebody puts an apostrophe before every single S, whether it's plural or possessive. And plural don't require an apostrophe in 99% of the cases. I said, it's so destructive to read it. You see an entire paragraph before and you got apostrophes in almost every word, because whether it's a possessive or it's a plural, they stick a comma in there. I mean, not a comma, an apostrophe. I was complaining about that. I said, I guess you see that. He goes, every day, all day, it's never ending. He said, all these kids use is autocorrect on their phones. And he said they can't spell, they can't punctuate, they can't write much at all. Some do well, clearly, but he said a lot more write dunno, D-U-N-N-O for don't know, dunno, or B4, like letter B, number 4, for the word before. He said, I tell them to speak English, not bingo, no B4s. So he's having the same problems. These are middle school kids. I was writing way beyond theirs. I think education used to actually be education, honestly. But it's just been interesting to try to learn what I have problems with. They keep calling me on, this is a passive verb, use a more active verb. It's like, I don't know how to use an active verb in this thing. It's not an active kind of thing. And so, I'm always at odds with the program, but it's been very helpful. It's a free version I'm using. They have a free version and they have a paid version. It's an annual fee, and it's, you get a lot more features, or a lot more of the same minimal features that the free one has, and it's been very eye-opening, actually. I think my fiction book is going to be much better grammar-wise than my my own memoir was. I mean, I can write. I've written short stories since I was in elementary school, and I've always enjoyed writing. But yeah, I mean, I have a tendency to use some passive verbs and run-on sentences. But the thing is, a lot of the run-on sentences are in the conversation, in the dialogue. And the dialogue, people don't speak the way they write. I'm not writing an English thesis. And, you know, I said, I just don't understand. It doesn't need a comma here. Why do you want me to put a comma here? It's too many commas. And my son said, he said, well, you're not writing an English thesis. He said, you're writing general fiction. He said, just do what you feel is the right thing to do. And a lot of times the program will make a correction. And it's like, but you don't understand what I'm saying. It's like they misunderstand. It's like Chris, my son, he was laughing at the program because the program allow you to choose to use inclusive language. Okay, and he said there's a character in one of his new book called Master Somebody, as in the title is Master, and the name of it. And it keeps wanting to say, why don't you use the word primary? Or what? He goes, they don't understand this is a title, you know, like sensei or master, that kind of thing. And they kept wanting to make him politically correct. He's like, they don't get it. And I said, I know, I've had the same problems. But it's just funny. It's nice to have somebody talk back to bounce ideas off of. But I will say, in this new fiction book, I am up to my goal, my main goal, my minimal goal of words. You can't count chapters because you can divide up chapters any way you want. But the word count, my minimum word count I want is 50,000. I'm already up to over 30,000 now. So it's headed toward true novel territory slowly. And the thing is, it's funny the way writing is. Some days it almost writes itself. It's like I can't type fast enough to get the ideas out. And then other days I'm like, well, I don't know what to do next here. And so I kind of just put it aside, and a lot of times I'll just go to sleep and I'll wake up before I'm even really conscious thinking about the scenes, and all of a sudden it's writing out in my head. So I'll wake up with an idea of the direction I want to go. Writing's an adventure. You really should try it sometime, honestly. My husband wants to write, but he's not that good with his English, I don't think. I mean, he's educated, he has a degree and all that stuff, but you know, he's just not well read. He used to be an avid reader of fantasy books, but his eyesight got so bad and he doesn't want to take a Kindle and make the print bigger. And anyway, he doesn't read anymore. That's a shame. But anyway, I like people. I'm an avid reader, and even though I was so good in English when I was a child, and you know, I helped people with their papers in college, that kind of thing. You know, I think that the grammar rules have changed since the 1960s, because the way I was taught about commas in certain situations don't seem to apply today. It's a different rule, and anybody notice that? Have you noticed that at all? Now it's hard to take people's, you know, casual writing, like if you're making comments on a YouTube video, you know, that's just, you know, whatever. It's not going to understand what you're saying. You're not going to get a grammar lesson, okay? But, you know, casual conversational English is different than writing. And also, another thing this program did, it drove me crazy, is it kept wanting to make my sentences short. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a third grader. Like, Jane saw the dog saw Jane. I mean, you know, and so that kind of, that's not my book. It sounds childish almost to me. It's like it doesn't sound like an adult. But according to my son, he said most everything now was written in 7th to 9th grade English. And I'm thinking, okay, well, considering the literacy level of most people, if they read anything, they actually need to read something that is at that level or maybe lower. This program keeps track of what level I'm writing at. And the thing is, I started out writing like 7th and 9th grade level according to the program. But with their corrections and kind of following their lead and their suggestions as to grammar and sentence structure, the level went down to 5th grade. Now I'm like, that don't sound crazy. That sounds crazy. No wonder it sounds childish to me. It's 5th grade level reading. But the thing is, you do want as many people as possible to read your story and enjoy it and not be confused by every sentence. It's like, I don't understand what this person's saying. You know, you don't want that. But it was just a surprise to me to see what this program believes is proper written English. And it does make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't get it. And you can dismiss a suggestion. And I often will dismiss it. And it'll say you can file a correction or complain about it. I have only done that maybe once or twice. It's like, y'all don't get it. This is somebody's name. This is someone's name. Or something like that. And they just, I don't know. They don't understand sometimes, but it's just a program, right? And it does help. It's helped a great deal, and I'm very grateful to have it. But yeah, my son and I was just in I was just in hysterics over comma placement that day. That conversation that we had, you know, it's like, and I could just hear Captain Kirk with his hesitational speech, you know, reading these sentences back, and every time it stops, he goes like this, and he stops, and he goes like this, and he stops, and it's like, you know, if you know Captain Kirk, you know what I mean. So anyway, I'm telling my husband, I said, here we are in hysterics, and I'm laughing my head off over comma placement. This is hysterical. I said, I can't believe this is so funny. But anyway, my son is working ahead, and I'm working ahead, and I've got over 30,000 words on this new one, headed for 50, a minimum. And we'll see how it plays out and how the story, because I don't know the ending of the story. I don't know it's writing as I go along. And, you know, a lot of it is, what would I do in this situation? And sometimes you want to make your character do the opposite of what you would do in the situation, so that they have to fall flat on their face and then figure that out. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been fun. I have to say it was fun. Whether people like to read it or not, I had fun. I'm having fun writing it. So anyway, I'm doing that every day. I write it in Word, and then I put it in the Pro Writing Aid, and then it starts underlining things and saying, you know, could you use a different verb here, or you need a comma, or you don't need a comma, or, you know, whatever. So the comma thing has gotten to me. Okay, just a lot of comma thing. And adverbs. I tend to use a lot of adverbs. You know, slowly, words in ly, slowly, completely, that kind of thing. Quietly, and you don't. Instead, you know, you don't want to do that a lot, and it never occurred to me, really, honestly, about keeping the adverbs down. Like, you don't want to say, she spoke quietly. Why don't you just say, she whispered? You know, that kind of thing. It's concise, more concise. Not any extraneous words. There's a couple of things I don't even know what they're talking about in there. It's like glue words. Well, wait a minute, if you take out my glue words, your sentence falls apart. What are you talking about? I don't even understand what glue words actually are. So I saw a suggestion from someone who said, ignore that part on that program. I was thinking about buying the paid version. I don't know if it helped or not. I'm getting a lot out of just the free version. So, you know, if I can do it free, I'll do it free. So there's that. What is going on now? I don't know. It's getting kind of cold. Tally's out there. I put her on the floor on the bed of straw and hay, and gave her, put a heat lamp directly over her. Not one of the big red ones, just a little reptile bulb, so her back gets warm. And hopefully Bash will leave her alone down there. He hasn't bothered her, and we'll see. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. That's the gist of it. You win some, you lose some. She probably had some internal problem that when she started, her body was preparing to come into lay like the other three. It just sent her over the edge, and her body couldn't handle it. So that's all. And we'll see y'all later. Bye.